And good morning once again. I'm Rob Vaughn.
And I'm Wendy Davis. We're continuing our special coverage of President Obama's visit here to the Lehigh Valley. And just about an hour ago, you saw Air Force One arrive at Lehigh Valley International Airport live right here on WFMZ and WFMZ.com. The president certainly didn't dawdle at the airport either. He was in his limo and on his way just minutes after his plane touchdown. There you see him. And from the airport, the president traveled to the Allentown Metalworks for a tour.
He has wrapped up that visit apparently on South 10th Street at the steel-making plant at Allentown Metalworks, and now is on his way in the motorcade to Lehigh Carbon Community College. This is a shot of the line, the people who are making their way into the college for this ticketed event at Barrier Hall. This is the main event on the president's visit, but as we mentioned, he's already made one stop prior to this one, and he's due any time at Barrier Hall, where things are all set up and waiting for the president to speak. He's due to speak in 15 minutes at 11:50.
That's right. We're getting reports all over the area of traffic backups because of the motorcade making its way from Allentown up to Schnecksville and El Tri-C. Problems with the busing schedule apparently at some local elementary schools, and the usual kind of issues that go along with a presidential visit. Apparently they're even stopping some cars on some roads and asking people why they're there, if they have business in the area, searching cars since the morning. So
the Secret Service does that sort of thing.
Yes, they do. A lot going on up in the Schnecksville area.
Dealing with that in the past. And of course, one interesting way to follow this, we have discovered in this interactive media age, is going to, if you go to WFMZ.com, you can do what we are doing even here and look at the interactive live chat we have going on with our producer, Miranda Valet there, and she is finding all kinds of people commenting on these various trouble spot situations.
All right. Well, the crowd started gathering out at El Tri-C bright and early, as you can imagine. And we are going to go there right now where our own Jaciel Cordoba is standing by live. He's been there all morning long, and he is inside at El Tri-C. Jaciel.
Yes, it's nice and warm in here, Wendy. Good morning to you and Rob. And the program here started about 5 minutes ago at 11:30 with a prayer, and then a young lady sang the Star-Spangled Banner. The audience is a mix of elected officials, students, and staff here, and just regular, ordinary folks. One of Governor Rendell's security staff lightly pushed me aside to make way for the governor as he made his way to the front of the room. This is a very cozy, intimate setting. I was at Muhlenberg College when the president was there during the campaign, and which was much larger gym than this one here at Barrier Hall. Everyone is pretty much shoulder to shoulder here. They're folding chairs for the people to sit in, and then they're risers off to my left shoulder. I talked with one audience member from a local union, and he said he didn't have any trouble getting a ticket, but he did have to wait an hour and a half in line outside before he could take his seat here. And when I asked what he wanted to hear from the president, he said he wanted to hear something about health care, because he figured that if everyone has health care, that would help promote jobs. So also one more thing about technology, El Tri-C's radio station is giving you access to the presidential speech live on your iPhone. All you have to do is go to WXLV.org on your phone, and you're linked to our live broadcast here on WFMZ TV of the president's speech as it airs live. So that's a new thing they've done. It's the first time they've ever been able to air a presidential speech live in this format throughout the country. So they're excited about that here at the college. Now, we are in very tight quarters here in the press area as well as in the audience. So I'm going to step out of the shot right now so that Jaccii Farris, who is here with me, can get in position and tell you her side of what she's seeing here. Jaccii?
All right.
All right. Well, all right.
Jackie's climbing into place there.
She's getting inside right now. In the meantime, we want to remind you that our special coverage today also extends to our website, WFMZ.com. A 69 News videographer is traveling along with the president in his motorcade, and you can be sure to log on throughout the day to see special pictures, videos, and more. I'm being told that we are getting the first pictures in right now from the president's visit to Allentown Metalworks. So those pictures will be online shortly. You can also see the live coverage of the president's event at El Tri-C online. And during the event, we're also going to invite you to join us on the live chat. We have an online chat going on all morning long with one of our web producers who is inside Burial Hall right now.
All right, back to El Tri-C, sort of the main stage, you might say, for the president's visit And as Jaciel said, Jaccii is there with him in Barrier Hall. Hi, Jaccii.
Hello. Jaciel stepped down. We're standing on a chair because there is a riser here, and there are probably about 20 or so different news cameras and print photographers here waiting for the president. Now, it's very exciting, as Jaciel said here. Everyone here is getting ready for the president to arrive. We do have a lot of dignitaries in-house as we take a look at the crowd. I can tell you, Jaciel mentioned Governor Ed Rendell. We also have Senator Lisa Boscola, Representative Karen Beyer. We have Daryl Dawkins, Chocolate Thunder, in the House from the 76ers. Also, we have Julio Garidi from Allentown City Council and Lehigh County Executive Dawn Cunningham. We also have Allentown Judge-elect Ron Minescu. Now, the crowd here has a lot of expectations of President Obama's speech. There are about 800 people packed into Barrier Hall here. They want answers on how the president plans to fix the economy and create jobs. Now, we spoke to a couple of the students. There are about 200 students here for the speech. They say they're going to be watching very closely to see if they get any answers. You know, a lot of them are getting ready to graduate and go out into the job market. They want to find out exactly what the president has planned. Now, the president has spoken in the past about investing in green jobs as part of a jobs plan. Now, yesterday we went to a company in the Lehigh Valley in Upper McCountry Township called ATAS, and basically what they make are solar panels for electricity and solar walls for heat. Now, the owner, the president, Dick Buss, says that so far he likes what he's hearing about the president's plans to invest in green technology. He says if everything pans out the way it's sounding, that Buss might be able to add about 50 employees next year and also expand the products that ATAS is able to provide. Now, members of ATAS are here today. They say they wouldn't have missed it because they want to hear if the president has anything further to say on the investment of green technology. And, of course, the students and the community want to hear what the president has to say on the first stop of his listening tour, why he came to the Lehigh Valley, why he chose to bring his first job message here. And, of course, the president is expected to speak in just a few minutes, and we will bring that to you live back in the studio.
All right. Thank you so much, Jaccii. We'll be checking in, of course, in a little bit. And, of course, not everyone is welcoming the president with open arms, as the case when there are presidential visits. Protesters were awaiting Obama's arrival at LVIA this morning. They carried signs that blasted the president on everything from his health care overhaul to his economic policies. And we've been told that protesters plan on following the president to his various stops in the Lehigh Valley today.
Many of those protesters have set up shop outside L-Tri-C at the place where the president is going to be speaking today. And, of course, this forum is set to begin very soon. Joscelyn Moes is on the campus with more on what the protesters are up to. Joscelyn?
Hi, Rob. Yeah, we are on the campus of L-Tri-C outside Barrier Hall where the president is going to be speaking. Now, you can see some of the protesters and supporters gathered out here. They're gathered at different spots around the campus. I would say they're an equal number of supporters as protesters. Hundreds of people are out here. Now, these people position themselves here hoping to catch a glimpse of the motorcade as it passes by. We don't know for sure if this is where the president is coming in, but we did see a number of Welcome Obama signs up along this route. Now, the supporters and protesters started arriving to campus around 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning. They're armed with signs. Occasionally, they've started cheering or chanting. Now, each side wants to get its message across. Protesters we talked with are unhappy with the president's performance, unhappy about the economy, the health care, among other things. Supporters are overall pleased with the job Obama has been doing, saying that he inherited a host of problems, and so they wanted to come here to show their support. Overall, it's been pretty calm out here. Now, again, supporters and protesters gathered out here hoping to catch a glimpse of the motorcade as it goes by. Rob, Wendy, back to you.
Okay, here's the first.
All right, Joscelyn Moes. Joscelyn is at L-Tri-C outside Barrier Hall. Here we are in the studio, and we've shifted things a little bit. I have some guests to talk with me about what's happening today at L-Tri-C. As you see the motorcade, before I introduce the guests, we'll get a quick look at the motorcade as it makes its way onto campus. And limousines making their way through, and you hear some of the protesters chanting in the background. Of course, we were told there are some others who are in favor, of course, of Obama. If they're counter-protesters or just Obama fans, they're there chanting Obama. Okay. And the car makes its way to Barrier Hall. In and out of sight, police escort. And they are on their way. And are there more cars? Yes, I thought we'd see several cars in black, of course. The whole motorcade is there. One of our 69 News cameras among the vehicles there in the entourage. In fact, quite a procession, which is called quite a stir, as it always does when it goes through any area where the president's visiting. We've had on our live web chat today lots of indication of roads closed and people having to stop and wait for the presidential motorcade to make its way through the area. But now it has arrived on campus in Schnecksville, North Whitehall Township, Lehigh County, for the president to make his appearance at Barrier Hall in a very few minutes. And so if my time is right here, he's got about 5 minutes before he steps to the podium. So whether he'll be right on time, we'll find out very shortly there. As you watch the motorcade, I'm going to introduce my guest in the studio to talk about what we are expecting to hear from the president today. And my guests here are Michael Donovan, who is an Allentown City Council member, a Democrat on council, and also a professor at Cedar Crest College.
Greetings. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you. And Scott Ott, political commentator, editor of ScrappleFace.com, and columnist for Washington Examiner, and recent candidate. Came up just a little short in the race for Lehigh County Executive. Good to see you, too.
Thanks, Rob.
All right. And just in case our viewers are not real familiar with you guys, just to lay the land here, a quick word about where you are politically. Where would you say on the political spectrum you are, Mr. Donovan and then Mr. Rudd?
Well, it's probably fair to say that I'm a moderate. I am a Democrat. I do have certain attitudes towards the liberal side, but I certainly respect investment and savings and rate of return and the value of capitalism in the business community.
Okay. And Scott, what would you say about your own political view?
I'm a big fan of freedom and individual liberty and responsibility and prosperity is generated in our constitutional republic, so therefore I'm a Republican.
So therefore I'm a Republican. Okay. The president says he's coming to listen today as we continue to watch the motorcade make its way through the campus. Do you think he's coming to listen? Do you think he's coming to say what he wants to say?
Scott, go ahead.
Scott. You go first.
I think in a setting like this, it's very hard to say you're actually coming to listen. When the president shows up anywhere, he creates such a stir that I have a hard time believing that there's any quiet little room where he's sitting there getting wise counsel from local business leaders and employees. Obviously, it's part of the public relations campaign that's been mounted by the Obama administration, as many administrations have done. The question is, will he hear anything, or will he just speak? Will he tell us what he thinks, or is he actually trying to get the pulse, to get the temperature, as the White House has said?
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Mr. Donovan?
I think that his choice here of the Valley and Allentown is very significant. Allentown is one of 100 small cities in the nation that is in the center of metropolitan areas where there's a hollowing out of urban centers for a variety of economic and social reasons. I think he's here to send a strong signal. Now, whether that's listening or talking, it's a conversation. But for him to come here and talk about urban policy, regionalism, how that plays into job creation, I'm pleased he's here.
What can the government actually do? The president has said he doesn't want to get into things that will expand the already huge federal deficit. So what can the government actually do that would make a difference in terms of creating jobs? Go first.
Well, I've lived through 3 recessions, 72, 75, 81, even 90, I guess 4, now a 5th. I used to be a banker in international banking. I've followed economies for a long time. Typically, we do climb out of recessions. Typically, that is a combination of private investment and governmental investment. And we've seen sometimes private investment and speculation works, sometimes it does not, and sometimes government policy does not work, and sometimes it does. Personally, I feel that the administration is doing the right thing. I think it's going to take a long time. Since 1948, it's taken typically 3 to 9 months on average for employment to tick up after GDP begins to tick up. Now, I think we are in a worse situation because of our competitiveness in the world. We're countries with a variety of policies that do not favor social policies, environmental policies have an advantage over us. I do believe that there are 3 things in economic development. You've got to have confidence that your investment will pay off. You have to have fairness so that people believe that the doors are open. And you've got to be good at problem solving. And problem solving is cooperative. It is not partisan.
All right. What do you think? Government can do something about this, or should back away? Or
I think government can do something, and there are some roles that government needs to play in investment. Most of those are infrastructure roles. You know, you need to have good roads and things like that. The best thing that government can do at this point, and if you talk to most small businesses, they'd say that, is remove some of the burden of government from the backs of the business people that are trying to navigate this difficult economy. So I'd like to have my taxes reduced, the average business person might say. I'd like to have maybe a little bit less government interference in what I'm trying to do. Businesses don't exist to create jobs. Businesses exist to create prosperity for the people who are running those businesses. They create jobs when they see an opportunity to invest, and if they have a little extra money in their pocket to invest, they'll do it. We don't have to force businesses to create jobs. We just need to get off their backs and give them, leave some of their money in their pocket so they can do it.
Now, let me bounce this off you. Professor Pete Morici, University of Maryland professor, said on CNN, either last night or this morning, that regarding the summit yesterday, but I think he would extend that to today's events as well. So this is the first stop on the president's listening tour after the summit yesterday. He said that what it was a PR exercise. They had their mind made up before they went into the summit to spend the TARP money. They say they are not adding to the deficit when they in fact are, and they just want to basically do more stimulus. I take it he doesn't like what the president's doing. Would you agree with Professor Morici?
It would be hard to argue otherwise, because if you say that he didn't have his mind made up by this time, then you're saying that for 10 or 11 months in office, he had no idea what he was doing, and now he's hoping to find out. Bringing together business leaders from across the country in the White House and saying, what do you think we ought to do about jobs? It would be a stunning a stunning show of incompetence if at this point he was just starting to do that, going out around the country now saying he wants to hear. I think part of the challenge the Obama administration faces is there are very few people from the private sector who work in the Obama administration. In fact, by far the lowest percentage of private sector experienced people of any administration.
I bet you disagree with that.
I would disagree. I mean, I believe President Bush and his administration had his mind made up about the Iraq war before they actually went forward. I think every administration has an idea of what they want to achieve. Scott mentioned businesses. Businesses are an entity legally. Businesses are made up of people. Mark Granovetter, a great economic sociologist, introduced the idea that business is embedded in society. So you can't just talk about business owners. You have to talk about the humans and the human capital that is involved. What this nation is suffering from is an extremely deteriorating educational system from pre-K to higher education. We have lost sight of a variety of people who could bring a great deal of talent, and I think many people have given up. In 1962, Michael Harrington wrote The Other America and highlighted the poverty that exists in Appalachia, even here in Pennsylvania. I think we have serious problems in our urban centers. I think we have serious problems in our poor rural centers. And as a result, our human capital is deteriorating, making us uncompetitive. Tax policy to make people who are already earning a lot of money more money is not necessarily an investment in human capital.
I know you'd love to say more about that. Well, gentlemen, we will talk again in just a little bit. The president approaches the Barrier Hall, and we're going to toss it back over to Wendy for a moment.
All right, thanks, Rob. And we're joined now by Muhlenberg College Professor Chris Borick, and we'll talk to you a bit as we wait for the president to take the stage there at L-Tri-C. And I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but what are the folks there going to hear from the president this morning?
Well, I think, Wendy, they're going to hear a message largely aimed at the president, first of all, apparently listening to what their concerns are, and also that he is paying attention and focusing on this topic. Over the last year, I think a number of people have said the president has focused his attention on health care, focused his attention on the war in Afghanistan, and he hasn't really made it an obvious front and center topic that is important to his administration. And I think you're seeing a change of gears right now, and I think you see the president, as part of this event today, coming out to the people, if you will, in a place like Allentown, Pennsylvania, and putting it front and center on the agenda.
I know we were talking earlier about the catchphrase, the sustainable jobs. This is what people are looking for. If you want to talk a little bit about what they actually mean by that.
Well, it's about jobs. When people think economy or they talk about the economy, they're talking largely about jobs. Our concern, our safety, our economic vitality is tied up in our jobs. And when individuals are concerned or they express concern, what they're worried about is seeing that job that they have today is going to continue to be there. If they don't have a job, that there's opportunities for them.
All right, Chris, I'm going to cut you off right there because, as you can see, President Obama making his way to the podium right now. I know earlier we saw Governor Rendell there in the crowd and President Obama making it to the podium, very close to schedule.